Mark and Nikki Webster arriving at the High Court to hear a judge formally declare their happy, relaxed and sociable young son should remain with them in a loving family home. Last November, the couple were allowed to bring their fourth child home to Cromer after 5 long months in a parental assessment centre. They'd fled to Ireland before Brandon's birth, fearing social workers would take him away too. Mr. Justice Holman complimented the couple on the excellent way they were caring for Brandon and wished them every possible happiness as a family together in the years to come. But there's growing medical evidence that the injuries to child B that prompted the original adoptions were caused not by physical abuse, but by a vitamin deficiency.
What has happened to this family over the last 3 or 4 years has been an absolute tragedy. Their lives, the lives of their family, the lives of other people have been devastated by these events.
Have you got a message you'd like to send to your older children?
We love them, we still love them very much.
We think of them every day, and we want them to know that we'll never forget them.
You've accepted that you won't have them with you anymore. What does today mean to you with you finally?
It just means so much to have him with us and to stay with us.
Next stop for the Websters, the Court of Appeal. They remain determined to clear their name. Kim Riley, BBC Look East at the High Court.
Well, a short time ago I spoke to the Director of Children's Services at Norfolk County Council, Lisa Christensen, and asked her first if she accepted that mistakes had been made in the case of the Websters and their children.
I don't think I do, actually. We had today the judge issuing his judgment after very careful consideration, hearing everything once again in court. And he was very kind to us, actually, and complimentary about what we'd managed, and the way in which we'd approached this very, very difficult case. He felt that we'd done everything that we should have done, given the evidence that was placed before us.
If the judge says now that Mr. and Mrs. Webster are fit and able to look after Brandon, the implication is that with some help they would have been fit and able to look after the other 3 children. So rather than taking them away, why didn't you offer them that help and that support when they needed it?
Well, we do offer support to families as much as we possibly can. There are instances, however, where we are faced with unequivocal evidence and the opinion of experts that a child has been non-accidentally injured, i.e. deliberately injured. That is what we were told at the time in that case. The child had 6 fractures and we were told that they would be non-accidentally applied. That's a very, very serious issue, and I've been in circumstances, Stuart, previously where people have said, why didn't you take action earlier in respect of some cases?
In retrospect, do you wish that you had, rather than taking the action that you did, had offered more support, more help? Because now the judge says that they are able to look after Brandon, and the implication must be that with help and support they would have been able to look after the other children.
We couldn't have offered that, given...
Why not?
Because we were told very clearly that the child had been deliberately harmed to the extent where he had suffered 6 fractures. It is impossible for us to recommend. We discussed it, we looked at the evidence, we asked the questions, the courts looked at the evidence, asked the questions. The judge came to a conclusion about what should happen to the child. It's not a decision that I take or my staff take. It is a decision that's taken by the court.
But it is based on recommendations from you and your staff, surely?
But our recommendations are based on the evidence that is given to us and which is debated with other key experts in the local area who tell us what their opinion is.
Have you ever thought what it must be like for Mr. and Mrs. Webster? They know that their 3 young children are alive and well, and yet they will play no part in their upbringing. They'll miss the first day at school, they'll miss Christmas, birthdays. Do you think what that must be like for them?
Of course I do. Of course I do. And one of the things that I also think is that this continuing lack of clarity about this case must be intensely distressing for them, as it is for everybody involved, I think.